Y'all better sit down, grab your popcorn, okay, and put your phone on silent because what I'm about to tell you will make your jaw hit the floor. Imagine building a whole brand, a reality TV career. It's a shiny image of being the smooth-talking ladies' man, only to have it ripped to shreds by a mugshot, a microphone, and Tasha K's big mouth. Yes, you heard me. Martell Holt. Mr. Love and Marriage Huntsville. Mr. Business Mogul. Mr. I'll gaslight you before breakfast might just be standing at the edge of the biggest downfall reality TV has ever seen. And the wild part, he didn't trip, he didn't stumble, he straight up jumped into the mess with both feet. Now tell me this. How do you go from spraying cologne in confessionals to spraying excuses all over the internet? How do you go from being the man who wanted us to believe he was the perfect father, the perfect partner, the perfect businessman to being the guy whose name trends right next to the word charges? And don't get it twisted, this isn't some tiny drama cooked up for a storyline. Nope, this is real. This is messy. This is career-ending level ugly. Tasha K didn't just spill tea, she poured the whole pot, added sugar, and served it ice cold with receipts. And Martell. He looks like he's drowning in his own lies while the internet pulls up with lawn chairs and cameras ready to watch the show. So buckle up. Because if you thought this was just another reality star getting caught slipping, think again. What's coming for Martell is bigger, louder, and messier than anything Carlos King could script. Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you'll be asking the same question I'm asking. Is this the official end of Martell Holt's career? Martell Holt's world has been spinning out of control. And if you thought reality TV scandals were just for ratings, think again, because what's happening now is a full-blown spectacle that has everyone talking and nobody looking away. The man who once strutted around Huntsville like he owned every camera lens, every sidewalk, every coffee shop where someone might spot him, now finds himself under a microscope that is unforgiving, relentless, and brutal. His charming smile, the one that once convinced fans he was the devoted husband and dedicated father, now looks like a mask-hiding chaos manipulation, and a string of decisions that are finally catching up to him. For years, Martell built an image of control, power, and sophistication, but behind closed doors, things were far messier than anyone ever imagined. The drama between him and Melody Cherie is not a sudden eruption, but the boiling point of years of tension, deception, and public humiliation. Melody, who had tried to maintain grace, professionalism, and dignity, found herself cornered by repeated harassment, uninvited appearances, and the kind of attention no one wants from someone who claims to care about you. Then comes Tasha K, and suddenly what had been whispered in private, what had been a tense undercurrent in social media speculation, explodes into public scrutiny. Her video didn't just leak information, it ignited a firestorm. Fans, critics, and casual onlookers alike were suddenly dissecting every move Martell had made, every excuse he had offered, and every pattern of behavior that pointed toward recklessness and lack of accountability. People started to see the cracks in the carefully constructed facade. What they saw was shocking, alarming, and strangely fascinating all at once. It wasn't just about past relationships or infidelities. It was about power, control, and the way someone could manipulate situations to keep themselves looking untouchable while leaving others to pick up the pieces. Leaked text messages, anonymous tips from sources who claimed to know the inner workings of Martell's life, and alleged encounters at events painted a picture of lavish spending, opportunistic alliances, and an unbothered attitude toward anyone who might be hurt in the process. There were claims of private investigators being hired to follow former partners, of social media accounts being monitored, and even allegations that Martell attempted to twist narratives to make himself appear as the victim whenever things went wrong. The internet exploded with reactions ranging from outrage to disbelief to outright mockery. Some fans questioned how someone could appear so polished on television and yet act with such recklessness behind the scenes. Others debated the role of the cast, asking why Ariane Curry, who had been intimately involved in the drama for years, seemed to oscillate between defending Martell and instigating conflict with Melody. Meanwhile, Martell's responses only made things worse. Attempts at humor, downplaying the seriousness of allegations, or mocking Melody's courtroom appearance were received as callous and insensitive. Instead of quelling criticism, it fueled it. And soon social media became a relentless forum for fans to discuss, argue, and judge. Every new post, every leaked image, every viral video compounded the pressure, leaving Martell with fewer and fewer places to hide. Meanwhile, Melody continued to demonstrate composure, professionalism, and strength, a stark contrast to the chaos surrounding Martell. She remained focused on her children, her businesses, and her reputation, refusing to be drawn into petty online battles, even as trolls and critics tried to paint her as obsessed or vindictive. The narrative began to shift in the public eye, with more people questioning Martell's behavior and integrity, scrutinizing his past actions and current responses, and demanding accountability. Fans and viewers debated endlessly, dissecting not only what had happened but also the motivations behind each person's actions. What became clear was that this was no longer just a reality TV storyline. It had become a cultural talking point about power, manipulation, and the consequences of behavior that is left unchecked for too long. Every move, every word, and every reaction added to the mounting tension, making it increasingly difficult for Martell to navigate the fallout while maintaining his previous image. The stakes were higher than ever, and the drama, far from being scripted, felt raw, unpredictable, and dangerously close to spiraling completely out of control. The fallout from Martell Holt's actions continued to intensify as fans, insiders, and social media commentators dug deeper into every claim, every allegation, and every rumor surrounding his behavior. What had started as whispers of infidelity and misconduct transformed into a full-scale investigation by the court of public opinion, where no detail was too small and no excuse went unquestioned. Anonymous sources claimed to have seen Martell at lavish events, flaunting wealth and attention while seemingly unconcerned about the mounting accusations. And others alleged that private messages revealed a pattern of manipulation and control over those around him. Social media feeds were flooded with clips, screenshots, and commentary dissecting his every move, creating a sense of inevitability as if the world was watching a slow-motion collapse. Fans speculated about the involvement of Arian Curry, suggesting that her presence in the drama was more than just a lingering attachment, but a strategic attempt to maintain influence over Martell's narrative and public perception. Meanwhile, Melody Cherie maintained her composure, continuing to present herself as professional, level-headed, and committed to protecting her children and her reputation while the chaos around her escalated. The scrutiny of Martell's behavior reached unprecedented levels as observers analyzed the way he interacted with cast members, the production team, and even fans, pointing out inconsistencies, deflections, and patterns that painted a portrait of someone unwilling or unable to take accountability. Allegations of harassment, intimidation, and public manipulation were paired with claims that Martell had attempted to discredit Melody and her supporters by spreading misinformation, all while maintaining a polished, composed image for television appearances. People began to question the role of the production team, including Carlos King, asking why warnings or pleas for safety were ignored and why the focus seemed more on creating drama than protecting those involved. Tasha K's video amplified the intensity, offering viewers a perspective that seemed both revelatory and damning, and it became impossible for fans to ignore the discrepancies between Martell's public persona and the allegations against him. The combination of leaked texts, video evidence, and first-hand accounts created a narrative that suggested a carefully orchestrated attempt to manipulate situations in his favor, making the story feel as much like a thriller as it did a reality television scandal. Fans debated endlessly about motives, morality, and potential consequences, drawing attention to the emotional toll on Melody and the wider impact on the show's credibility. Even casual viewers who had never followed the drama closely were drawn into the story, compelled by the tension, the spectacle, and the apparent recklessness that Martell seemed to embrace. Critics and supporters alike dissected every comment, every post, and every reaction, creating an ongoing conversation that was as relentless as it was polarized, with some people defending him out of loyalty or disbelief, and others calling for accountability and justice. The atmosphere became electric, charged with outrage, curiosity, and a sense that this situation had reached a tipping point. Each new revelation or public statement from Martell or those around him acted like fuel to a fire that showed no signs of dying down. Every action, every statement, and every public appearance seemed to add layers to a narrative that was messy, dramatic, and completely absorbing. What started as a series of personal disputes and allegations had evolved into a spectacle that was impossible to ignore, drawing attention not only to the individuals involved, but to the broader issues of power, manipulation, and accountability in the world of reality television. People could not stop watching, discussing, and debating. And each moment of drama intensified the pressure on Martell, making it painfully obvious that the consequences of his actions were just beginning to unfold. As the story unfolded, the tension surrounding Martell Holt reached a fever pitch, with every new development adding layers of drama, speculation, and public outrage. Fans and commentators alike were dissecting his actions, past behavior, and the way he tried to manipulate both the narrative and the people around him. Allegations of harassment, intimidation, and repeated disrespect toward Melody Cherie painted a picture of someone who refused to take accountability while simultaneously expecting loyalty or admiration. Reports circulated that Martell had sent messages mocking court appearances, trivializing serious allegations, and attempting to frame Melody as unstable or overreacting, fueling the perception that he was more concerned with his image than the consequences of his actions. Meanwhile, Melody continued to demonstrate remarkable composure and resilience, focusing on her children, her career, and her personal growth despite being subjected to public scrutiny, online trolling, and relentless pressure from multiple angles. The role of Arian Curry remained a focal point for observers, with her interactions in courtrooms, social media, and public events suggesting a combination of desperation, strategic positioning, and ongoing attempts to control how Martell was perceived, which only complicated the already tense dynamic. Production oversight came under fire as well, with Carlos King being held accountable by viewers who believed that safety concerns were ignored, warnings were overlooked, and the overall priority appeared to be ratings rather than protecting the people involved. Leaked messages, anonymous tips, and clips shared online provided a continuous stream of evidence that seemed to confirm public suspicion, and social media engagement reached unprecedented levels as fans debated motives, morality, and the possible consequences for everyone involved. The public became obsessed with analyzing patterns in Martell's behavior, from attempts to provoke reactions, to controlling narratives, to deflecting blame, creating a cycle of outrage and fascination that showed no signs of slowing down. Every action taken by Martell, every comment posted online, and every public appearance was scrutinized for signs of guilt, manipulation, or strategy. And the intensity of the coverage made it increasingly difficult for him to regain any semblance of normalcy. Meanwhile, Melody's restraint, professionalism, and focus on personal priorities only amplified the contrast, earning her admiration from fans who saw her as composed, intelligent, and resilient in the face of chaos that seemed designed to provoke her. Discussions about the scandal began to expand beyond personal grievances, touching on larger issues of power, gender dynamics, accountability, and how reality television can sometimes protect the wrong people while amplifying the struggles of those who are truly vulnerable. The situation had evolved into a cultural phenomenon, with everyone from casual viewers to media commentators weighing in, and each new revelation or viral clip added fuel to a fire that had grown far beyond the initial conflict. The tension between Martell, Melody, and Arian became emblematic of larger societal conversations about manipulation, privilege, and consequences, and it became clear that the fallout would continue to be messy, intense, and deeply polarizing. As fans waited for the next development, speculation about legal repercussions, personal consequences, and potential career collapse kept the conversation alive and urgent, creating a sense of anticipation that every next move could be pivotal. Martell's options appeared increasingly limited, with his public image under siege and every excuse or deflection examined and dismissed by an audience that refused to forget past actions or ignore current allegations. The contrast between chaos and composure, between manipulation and integrity, made the unfolding story impossible to look away from, as viewers debated endlessly about who was responsible, who was telling the truth, and what the ultimate outcome would be. What was once a scandal confined to a single show had grown into a wider discussion about character, accountability, and the consequences of choices. And every moment added new dimensions to a narrative that had captivated, horrified, and fascinated the public simultaneously. Reality TV drama had collided with real-world stakes, and the world was watching closely to see if Martell Holt could survive the storm he had helped create, or if this was the definitive turning point that would end his reign of influence and reshape the story forever. So now that you've seen the full picture, let me ask you this. How much longer can Martell Holt keep dodging accountability before the world catches up to him? How many more excuses, texts, and public appearances will it take for people to see the pattern for what it really is? And what about Melody Cherie, who continues to rise above the chaos, protect her family, and keep her dignity intact while the drama swirls around her? This isn't just entertainment. It's a moment to pay attention, to ask questions, and to demand accountability from everyone involved. The fans are watching, the internet is buzzing, and the pressure is real. Do you side with manipulation and excuses, or do you stand with integrity, resilience, and the truth? Every comment, every share, every discussion matters, because the story isn't just happening on screen, it's happening in the real world, affecting real lives and setting precedents for what behavior is acceptable and what is not. So make your voice heard. Comment below and let us know what you think about Martell Holt, Melody, and the fallout from this scandal. Hit that like button if you believe in accountability. Subscribe to stay updated on every shocking twist, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of the truth. The story isn't over, and your attention could be part of what finally brings the answers to light.